The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom just got a new trailer from Nintendo today, and it looks really good. I have one little nitpick, which will be at the start of the video. Beyond that, it just looks like it's shaping up to be an even better, more impressive game than I even imagined it would be with like the initial first two trailers. So let's jump into all those. I'm going to do it beat for beat and just talk about all the things that they revealed here. First of all, Zelda, why are you looking at me like that? Like, what did I do? It's your journey. Go have fun. I didn't do anything. Don't look at me all pissed off. It's not my fault. All right. So with that out of the way, Still World itself, I think that it's cool that there's like a whole other area to explore. I kind of assumed that would be the case, but what we get is a little slightly disappointing. And let me just explain why real quick. Still World is an amalgamation of all the elements from the overworld put into a void, their words, not even mine, and basically recontextualized as a platforming segment of the game. I would have preferred that the Still World was an actual realized world and not an excuse to make a platforming section. What I'm trying to say here is that with games like Mario Brothers and also like Wario Land series and stuff like that, these are games where you can feel the video gaminess in certain like games. Like Super Mario 3D Land is a great example where the world doesn't really make sense when you think about it. It's like all floating platforms and stuff like that, but at the end of the day it serves the gameplay. So therefore in the world of Mario, we kind of understand like it's more about making good platforming segments than it is about making a contextualized, realized world. And with Zelda, it's always been the opposite. With Zelda, whether it be like a second world or the main overworld or a dungeon, it sort of feels like it makes sense for it to be there. You know, like it's supposed to be that the world has an idea, a concept, and that you're dropped into this world that is fully realized. But with Still World, it's doing the Mario thing, where it's just sort of like saying like, yeah, we don't really care about the fact that there's a tree that's jettisoning out sideways, or just a chunk of land, or just bits and pieces of things just floating and stuff like that. Nah, we're just going to make something that just serves the gameplay. So therefore, we're just going to have a bunch of nonsense floating in the air, and you're going to have to figure out how to navigate it. And that's just not Zelda to me. So far, to me, that seems to be my biggest complaint with Echoes of Wisdom. But that being said, though, it's still going to be fun, I'm sure. And it's not going to take very long for me to get over the fact that, you know, there's going to be platforming segments. I just wouldn't want this to become the norm for Zelda, where we're starting to see more and more of what makes Zelda special pulled away in favor of gameplay. I'm sure that won't happen. I'm sure we're fine. And I'm sure that this game's going to be amazing with its overworld map and its dungeons and everything else. Which, by the way, let's get to dungeons. Dungeons are back, of course. I kind of assumed there would be, and there's also going to be bosses. We saw two of them in this trailer. We saw a stone rock boss that looks really cool. And then Volvagia from Ocarina of Time seems to be recontextualized to this art style in this world. So we're going to be doing a rematch with Volvagia. So that's going to be really cool too. Definitely the art style of that character was completely pulled out of Ocarina of Time, which we kind of see here and there with characters in this game. Like it's sort of like a blend, a marriage of the Link's Awakening remake art style and Ocarina of Time in certain cases. So it's kind of cool to see that for this character. I'm excited to see what other bosses they might pull in from Ocarina of Time, because it seems to be either Ocarina of Time or Link's Awakening characters and enemies are getting put into this game. So that's really, really cool. I think I'm really excited about that, on top of the fact that there's also a lot of proof that there's OCs, original characters, that are also put in this game as well. So I'm really, really excited about that. And speaking of characters, by the way, they also showed off that some characters in the game will offer different things for Zelda, like Dampé, for example, will actually create trinkets and stuff that will have functionality that will be different from anything that you could grab from the overworld map with your spells. So that's also really cool. It just adds another layer of depth to this game that I just wasn't expecting to see. This game is definitely not going to be hollow when it comes to its core gameplay. It does seem like there's going to be a lot of options, a lot of creativity, and it seems that it's going to be environmental puzzle solving where you can navigate the world by using certain elements and stuff like that. So I think that like this game is going to give you a lot of aha moments, which is what you want out of Zelda, but also just in an all new fun sort of way. I really, really like the game for this, and I really like that there's just so many different avenues that the game is pulling from to aid that gameplay style. So I'm really excited about that. But combat is technically back. So they announced in this trailer that there's going to be a new ability, and they're calling it the sword fighter form. So instead of bringing in Link, like we thought with the ESRB leak, where they said that Link would be a playable character, I'm sure that he will be to some extent, especially if they're drawing back in this gameplay for this form. I bet you that story-wise, there's going to be little elements where you can play as Link, maybe at the very beginning only, or maybe at the very beginning and only at the end. We'll find out with that. But the sword fighter form seems to be the primary way to play as Link, because what you're going to be doing with this form is transforming into a sword fighter with a Hylian shield, and it seems that you have all the different attacks that Link could do, but you're still Zelda and you're just dressed as Link. So that's really, really cool. I love that there's also a level system to it. So you only have a limited amount of time to be able to use it, sort of like the Power Acorn from Link's Awakening, but you can level it up to use this form even longer. And there's little bits and pieces of stuff that you collect in the still world in order to level that up. So that's going to be really cool. Like, it's going to be basically like an expansion to heart containers, which I'm wondering if there even is heart containers to collect in this game. But if there isn't, this is definitely a really great substitute, a way for you to collect things and feel like, ooh, I found that, I earned that, and now I'm becoming stronger and more powerful as a result. And we will definitely see that with this sword fighter form. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. I was kind of hoping that there would be a trade-off between Zelda and Link, but I'm sure a lot of you out there are thinking to yourselves, no, I want a game that's completely, wholly focused on Zelda. So you win. You get to have Zelda, it seems like 99% of the game. So very happy for all of you, and also it's not a disappointment to me. I'm fine with that too. I like the fact that we can do sword-based combat on top of all these spells and stuff. So again, it just adds to the layer of depth that this giant cake seems to have. Gameplay wise, these developers seem to be hyper focused, very vigilant. And the only concern I actually have is if they're giving too much creativity to the player to the point where the overworld map becomes trivial too soon into the game. Now, like with original Zelda games, you know, you get certain equipment at certain times so that you can unlock and traverse and explore certain areas of Hyrule or whatever area that Link is exploring in that particular game. But with this one, it seems maybe there's potential where you can essentially break the game. Now, I say break the game, but I'm sure you still have to go through certain dungeons at certain times and stuff like that. How much of the world is going to be opened up to us immediately with this game? And that's, I think, the only other concern I have. That's just a concern, though, because that might not be true. That might be something that is just you can't see it on paper, but when you experience the game, there is going to be a certain level of control that the developers have over the player, so that, you know, we have a more traditional Zelda-like game experience and not Breath of the Wild style where you can just go off in any direction. I do like freedom and creativity, but I also do like a game that feels like a sense of exploration, while at the same time too you're progressing in a slightly linear way. You know, we'll see about that. But other than that, I think it looks great. There's definitely that tease at the end where Link is about to murder Zelda. What is that about? His eyes were red, so maybe he's possessed by Ganon, or the still world. Something within the still world allows him to be puppeted by that area, or the I don't know, the ruler of that area. And with that, that's a good tease. I'm excited to see where that goes in the story. I am genuinely excited to play this game. I think that it's going to be a bop. I think that, like, as far as getting some classic Zelda, which we haven't had in a long time, this is a good compromise. We're definitely seeing a creativity-focused game, sort of like Tears of the Kingdom, obviously in a very different sort of way. But I do think that, like, as far as having that pining for some more classic Zelda, we're going to get some of that here with Echoes of Wisdom, I'm hoping. Again, you heard what my concern was earlier, but we'll see about that. Anyways, with that all said, there was also an announcement of a Switch Lite that is Zelda themed. It's gorgeous, but what the heck, man? Why does Nintendo do this? They keep putting out console exclusive IP versions of their consoles, and I'm not that rich. Who's collecting all these consoles? There's only been like one time I've ever like sold a game console to get the same console, and that was for the 3DS XL, I think it was. And they had one where you could have like an NES controller as the face of the 3DS, and I thought that was way too cool to pass up. So I did that. I sold a system, put some extra money in just to have a decal that I really, really wanted. But I can't do that for every console. That would just be irresponsible. But like, yeah, I mean, if you somehow do not have a Nintendo Switch, congratulations. You held out long enough, and you can get the worst version of the Nintendo Switch, I gotta say. It's the Switch Lite only. But hey, at least you'd have the most gorgeous looking Switch Lite out of all the kids in the playground. So congratulations to you. I'm a little jealous. You know, if you want to let me borrow it on the weekend so I can feel like I own it for just 2 days a week, that would be much appreciated. But you don't have to. I mean, we don't know each other, so I understand. But with that all said, I'm excited for this game. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope I can finish Danganronpa in time so that I can just completely focus on it. And yeah, I think that this is going to be a good one. I'm sorry if like nitpicking rattles your bones a little bit, makes you a little bit upset. I'm just not like one of those like people that just tries to be 100% cheery 100% of the time. I try to give everything a very fair and balanced view. And sometimes, yeah, I'll have like concerns or I'll have minor criticisms, but I try to keep it from getting hyperbolic. I try to keep it real. But anyways, if you appreciate the honesty, cool, stick around. There's definitely more of that in the future. And thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it, okay? All right, bye.